Welcome to the Home Building Hub, your essential podcast guide to building your new home. Hosted by industry experts Colin and Darren Brennan, this conversational podcast will help better educate you about all things new home building so you can avoid costly mistakes and enjoy your building experience to the fullest, no matter which home builder you choose.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Home Building Hub. You are with Colin, the co-host, with Darren Brennan, as always. And we want to welcome you to an interesting little episode, Darren. We're going to share the top 5 tips to prepare for your colour selection appointment for those builders that are offering that. Basically, I guess, guys, what that means is once you've sort of picked your house, you've got your quote finalised, before you sign your contract, there's an opportunity for you to go to a colour studio or a colour selection centre or a gallery or whatever it's called of that builder, and you can pick a whole range of things from flooring to bricks to do your electrical. It's just like a whole world of excitement and upgrades and things that you can pick in terms of colours as well. So I think it's a little bit maybe overwhelming for some, Darren. So I guess it seems like this is probably a nice little episode that we can give you, I guess, our top 5 tips, and I'll be asking you the questions, Darren, because it's definitely more in your wheelhouse in terms of what Metricon provide and what they offer.
Absolutely.
So firstly, I want to know, mate, how you going today? You all pumped?
Going well, mate, going well. I know every other week of late you've asked me about the Bombers, so I thought I'd jump in early and say I think it's all over. Count this season out. But back next year. Much as I'm highly disappointed, I still front up and watch them and, pull my hair out. That's why I'm bald, clearly. I'm buried for bloody Essendon. Jesus, anyway, it's all fun.
You should try going for West Coast.
Yeah, I know it's going well for you too. So we're in the basket together. I think this will be a really good episode. I think there's a lot of people go into a colour selection appointment and they get really nervous about it and they feel pressured and stuff. So this is about hopefully giving a few tips that'll overcome some of that. So
yeah, great. So I think sometimes people, if you're not prepared, as Darren said, it can be more stressful. It should be a really exciting part of your journey to go through this. So I guess what we're trying to do is highlight a few things that can help you better prepare in advance in preparation for your appointment. And I'll be sort of leading the way to Darren with the questions as he goes through the top 5.
Beautiful, mate. Let's talk in.
So let's talk about number 1. So this is something that you could potentially do well before your appointment, even when you're going through the quoting stage, I'd suggest, Darren. So what would number 1 tip be?
I guess arrange a tour if you can. And again, so not all builders will have that available to you, but if there is, arrange yourself a tour of the colour selection centre. Now, a tour can take different parts. Some of it will be a personalised one-on-one tour. Some of it will be a group tour. Others will just be an opportunity to wander through and have a look at the space, check out some of the things that are on offer. But I really think it's a great opportunity for you to start to get your mind thinking ahead of where you've been with the sales consultant, working through the plans and getting that stuff right, to now really personalising the home for you. And that's what this is about. It's about the personalisation of the home. So it's great if you can grab some samples while you're there. So often they'll have little benchtop samples, or they'll have cupboard samples, or they'll have paint samples. And that just starts to pull all that together for you. So you take those home, you can sort of go, yeah, I thought that was right, but now I've looked at my furniture and sort of see how that ties together. So I think that's a really important part of it. Take plenty of photos while you're there. Ask the question if you're allowed to, number 1, before you whip the camera out and start filming everything, right? But if they allow, and most of them will, take photos. So again, it starts to jog your memory. You can look back at those and go, hey, I'm thinking a bit like this when you get there for your actual colour appointment. I guess if you're still feeling a little confused after one tour, there might be an opportunity. Some just have open houses. You can just show up at their studio anytime, any day they're open, go for a wander through. Others, by appointment only, not allowed in there. So again, that's just set up to suit their businesses. But if you need to go back a second time, ask if that's possible, if you're still feeling a little confused. So I think that's a good starting point, really.
Yeah. When do you think is the most logical time to do a tour if the builder does offer it?
It depends on who you are as a customer, right?
Hmm.
Some people, this is such an important part of their home. So you may even want to see if you can do a tour pre-deposit, so you know what you're getting yourself in for, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Again, not all builders are going to offer that. So, it's just a matter of understanding where that's at. What I would say, if it's to make sure that that day goes well for you, you've already picked your builder, you're happy with all that, I'd do it a week or two in advance. So it's fairly fresh in your mind, right?
okay,
And I think that'd be sort of good timing. And again, some builders will make you do a tour. Like they'll say you have to do a tour before you do your studio selection. And again, they're doing that because they want to ensure that on the day that selection, that quite what can be quite a stressful day, is a little less stressful for you. So you're feeling, you know the environment you're walking into. You start to know the things you're going to have to pick, and they'll run you through that. There's a lot to choose on a day. There's a lot go into
mm,
a home. So a lot of people think, "Oh, I'll just do it in half an hour." Like, are you kidding? Like,
there's a lot there. Yeah,
absolutely. It's hard enough to do it in half an hour off a colour, like a colour board, but all the colours are already selected for, and you just got to choose an inside and an outside colour.
mm,
So let alone picking everything down to the taps and the handles and the windows, the colour of your windows. Are you going to have window locks? Doors, going to swing certain ways on cupboards in your kitchen. Are you going to have pot drawers? Like all this stuff
yeah.
goes on and on. So,
Yeah, it's a pretty decent process. So yeah, preparation with the tour where possible, and
yeah.
I think leads to the next one, Darren. Would be interesting. I guess what can people do? Number two is in line with this. What could they do outside of a tour with the builder? Yeah, what would that be?
I'd say what you want to do is when you show up to your actual color selection is come in really well prepared. So having photos of things that you like, whether that be something that's on your own place already, you might say, I really like this feature in my kitchen. Great. Take a photo of it so they know what they're looking at when the color consultant or the electrical consultant are helping you. You might say, I do this already. I've seen this. The more information you can provide them, the easier it'll be. The other bit is they're experts, right? So put a lot of trust into them to get it right.
Mm,
It's in their interest to make sure your home looks good. When we build homes, Colin, yourself and ourselves, we want them to look good so people go, wow, who built that home? It looks amazing. And then they come down to our display home and they go, oh, I'd like to buy a home off you as well because I went through my friends and it looks amazing.
mm,
So we want your home to look sensational. So,
yep.
that's why we have experts. That's why I'm not doing it because I'm hopeless at it, right? And we have experts doing that. And all builders are the same. You're going to be dealing with a very highly skilled color consultant
Yeah.
helping you through that journey.
Well, that's good. So I think it sounds a bit more like for people listening, you don't need to know all the answers, but it would be helpful for your color consultant to have some form of idea and theme and direction as to where you want to go. Some
Absolutely.
inspiration
Yeah.
will help them fine tune your selection and those sort of options that make sense. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, probably wouldn't be good for us to do it, Daz. We'd probably like say just put a red door on there so everyone knows which house to come to. Or
That's it.
like we
That's
would
it.
no, not our cup of tea. It's definitely a set of experience and skills that are required for color consultant.
And they're
Your
really
relative builder. Yeah,
what I see about all the color consultants I've come across. They're so passionate about getting it
they
to
are.
look amazing. That's just something they really love doing. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. Okay, number three. So we've got a tour as an option as number one. We've got, okay, just compile some themes and ideas and inspiration as number
Yeah.
two. Where is there any online tools that people are using that can help sort of put all that together and get more inspiration?
Yeah, absolutely. One that I know a lot of customers use, and again, our team recommend at Metricon, to people to set up a Pinterest page, and it's a great place to gather those ideas all in one place. You know, I guess it helps, and ideally, you'd break it down into certain areas of the home. So the key areas being your facade and the exterior of your home. What do you want that to look like? Are there some ideas? You might have a particular facade in mind, but you think, hey, I'd like it to have a little bit of this sort of look about it. The kitchen, again, What are you wanting colours-wise? Pot drawers, handles, lighting even in there, etc. Your appliances, bathroom, again, same story. Where do you want tiles? Are you wanting floor-to-ceiling tiles throughout the whole room? Are you wanting, all that sort of stuff? The more info you can gather on that, you wanting feature tiles, etc. Your ensuite, likewise, your laundry. And again, some of the laundries we see are just amazing. So again, those people who end up with a really amazing laundry, I guarantee you they're really well planned about what they want already. So having that there.
Yeah.
Other rooms that you might want cabinetry in. So you might say, hey, I don't want to put a bit of furniture in. I want an inbuilt TV cabinet. Fantastic. And to be fair, you might be just surprised how affordable they are from a builder. I'm blown away with some of the prices I see on these things. They're much more affordable than I would have anticipated.
Yeah.
So certainly that. Bedrooms, again, not all builders are offering to do wallpaper, but they might be offering to do feature painted walls for you. So all those sort of things are worth gathering the ideas of what you're after, showing that to the colour consultant right as you start, and work throughout the day, and really make that process easier. They'll be able to go, hey, you said you wanted these colours. Here's some choices in that sort of range. Which is the right one, rather than which one do you like? Is 120 of them, and you become confused and overwhelmed. So just that little bit of preparation work really does help make that an enjoyable day for you.
Yeah, it's good. So I guess in line with the other thing I'm keeping in mind now is budget. So it's all well and good for people to go out and put every picture of every beautiful aspirational thing they want, but you've got a budget you've got to stick to. So I think it would make sense to have some of those needs and wants mindset that we always talk about. So
Yep.
here's probably what I'm willing to go as the minimal, and here's the one that ideally I want to get, because once you put in your flooring and your this and your that, but it can add up pretty quickly, I'm sure, Daz. So
I think it's really important there, Cole, to set a budget before you go in there.
yeah,
And if you're there, husband and wife, talk about what that budget is before you get there. There's nothing more uncomfortable for yourselves and for the person doing the colour selection on the day is you arguing about, well, I really wanted to spend a bit more, I'm happy to, and the other person's not, and there's this argy-bargy, and no one enjoys that. It's not pleasant for anyone.
Yeah.
Set a budget and do your best to stick to it, right? Again, you might say, hey, ideally we want to spend 25 grand tops, and to be fair, I've seen people spend no money at all, and I've seen people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the home, depending on their budget, whatever's going to suit them, right? So understanding that, I think another bit in setting that budget is, I would say, for the most part, builders' standard inclusions are really nice. They're new, they're fresh, they look good, right? But they're a starting level. There's always going to be something better than the standard inclusion, right? Potentially, I say. But that's going to cost more money, as long as you're aware. But ask up front, what's the standard inclusion, right? Understand what that is so that you're well prepared, and then you're not having to go in there and just feel like all I'm having to do is upgrade. You don't have to upgrade anything. You can take a standard home and be really proud of what you've got. It's a choice at that point, if you do want to spend a bit more money, to make it a little bit even nicer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. So I think, the priority list needs to be established, which is all part of the preparation of these top 5 points. So number 4, Darren, I guess in line with, it's more the external component, which falls in line with, I know people can spend a fair bit on a facade, for example.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some other ideas people could do?
And I think in line with that, sometimes you can spend a fair bit on a facade, and that's changing the structural side of it, but not necessarily the detailing of the colours. So, sometimes you might be like, oh, well, I've got this great looking facade, but I was expecting it had tiles on the front of it, and it doesn't, because that's not what's included. So just, again, ask your sales consultant, what's included in that facade? All right, it's a $10,000 facade, but what am I getting other than the structural part? Does it include any render? Does it include any tiles? Does it include any of this sort of stuff? Additional cladding, what sort of cladding is it? So you understand. But what I would also do is suggest that with facades, ask if you can, where it's on display, number one, if it's nearby, go and have a look at it. Right, it doesn't have to be on the same house. So you can have a particular facade, the Colin facade, and that could be on 10 different homes, right? And so you could go and see it on a different floor plan to what you're buying, but it's going to look pretty similar to what you're seeing on that display. Might be a pretty good facade too, named the Colin facade, I reckon, mate.
Mate, great
Um,
ring to it. I could just see it just rolling up. Most popular
um,
facade. Yeah.
Also ask what are the features and additional stuff that's been added to that facade to make it look the way it does. You can also ask to see if there's any customer homes or homes that might be under construction nearing completion. Again, they may not provide you the details of those because of privacy reasons. If the joint's under construction, drive around the streets nearby. You might see a sign from that builder and go, hey, that's a facade I'm building. Cool, I get to see what it looks like. And you'll get a bit of a feel from there. Another one is with bricks. The brick suppliers often have like a yard where they've got walls of these bricks made, right? So you can go out and rather than when you go to the colour studio or colour selection centre, you might only see 3 or 4 bricks. So you're making a choice about how your whole house is going to look. Thousands and thousands of bricks off 3 or 4 of them.
Hmm.
Whereas you can go to the brickyard and often they'll have a whole wall. So you can say, what does it look like as a whole wall of that brick? 2, 3, 4 might look okay. Whole wall might look terrible, or vice versa. So again, it's worth, heading out, finding out who's your supplier. It might be Brickworks. Great. Where's Brickworks got a yard? Do they have a sample of what I can see there? Drive out and have a look as part of your preparation. It gives you something to do on the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, well worth the trip. There's a couple of extra things to check out just in
Absolutely.
advance. I think it makes sense. And I'd say if there's going to be a Colin facade, Darren, it'd have to be a single story. Have to be
Not tall enough.
no, not tall enough for a double. I would have thought a little single, nice one like that would be good. Thank
I
you.
know when we worked at another builder, I did get to that point where I had my 3 kids with houses named after them. So maybe you've got to do that within your range. The Colin facade. I'm looking forward to seeing it, mate.
Yep. Well, no, I don't know if it's got a good ring to it, but we did just introduce some. I'm a big fan of basketball. For those who can see on the video they're watching, there's a Michael Jordan picture behind me. So we released some facade names that are named after NBA players.
Like the Curry?
No, didn't put Curry actually. That's true. We put like Wade and Jordan and things like that, but some old school ones as well.
Could have made it like a yellow themed facade.
For Curry?
Yeah, the Curry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't go for that team. The Warriors, he's not my favourite cup of tea. But anyway, I guess maybe we're a little off track. Number 5. This one, amen. It's definitely something that must be looked at. It's something we've spoken about in a previous episode, Darren. So number 5 would be?
Yeah, it's get your electrical plan from your builder. Ask to get 2 or 3 printed if you need to. On your electrical plan, if possible, mark up where you're going to put your furniture. So if you're going to have in the background of yours, you can see you've got a shelf. If you can have a shelf there, put the shelf on there, right? So that you know when you go in there, cool, I've got the shelf there. Well, I might have a lamp on that. Well, it'd be ideal to have a PowerPoint right below it, where the lamp's going to be. So marking it up is ideal. It also allows you to move your lights around. So again, if the light's in the middle of the room, but let's say, for example, it's in a bathroom, and it would be better nearer the mirror, and it's not going to impact the room, why wouldn't you move it, right? Or you might have 2 in there, one above the sink, one in the middle of the room. So working out that sort of stuff, lights over your island bench, for example, or over where your dining table is going to be, and you might have a round dining table, in which case they can be grouped together. You might have 2 or 3 or 4. You might have a long table, in which case you might have them running down the middle of where that long table is going to be. So just getting that stuff right. The other bit is, if you're thinking about installing any big stuff later, what I mean by big stuff is, are you going to put a pool in? Are you going to put in cooling later because you don't have a home now? Are you going to put a shed in the backyard? It's worth noting those sort of things. And it can be that you can put cap points, at the nearest location on the outside of the home. and also allow for sufficient power to be run into the home. So it might mean that you say, look, I'm putting a pool in with a big, electric heater on it. You might need to run three-phase power into your home. It's better to do that up front. In most of the estates, three-phase power is available in the street. So you run it in. It's probably, look, I don't know, I'm going to put a number to it, $1,500 to have three-phase installed to your home. Now you can run the three-phase to the back of the home where you can have a cap point ready to go. All it means is your electrician comes along when they're going to install your pool filter and stuff. Dig a trench, only that little bit. There's no getting up in your roof, trying to jam wires through the walls, get all that stuff to happen. It's just so much easier and smarter if you're well planned. So the key to this whole episode is be really well planned in the process, right, leading up to your colour studio so that you get this stuff right.
We did, for anyone interested, episode 59 is the top 3 electrical plan errors you don't want to make. So listen to that. It's about the number of, selection of, the placement of, the height of data points, power points, all that sort of stuff.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
some pretty good insights in that one too, Darren.
For sure.
Which is nice. So yeah, there you go, folks. I think obviously it seems like the theme of the top 5 is all around preparation, and it takes you a little bit of extra time up front so you don't walk into the house and go, I love this house, but oh geez, I wish I had to put that there, because it's unfortunately something that happens quite often.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself if you missed a PowerPoint here and there. It does happen, or you rearrange the furniture a little differently to what you may have thought when you planned it. These things will happen, but I think it's important. Don't just show up on the day to your colour appointment. Do as much preparation as you can, and with all the top 5 tips Darren shared today, and that should get you guys well on your way. Anything to add to finish it off, Daz?
No, mate, I think it's, preparation's the key, right? So be prepared. Do a bit of homework before you get there, and you'll enjoy the experience so much more, because it should be something you're really excited about and go and enjoy and not be stressed over. So that bit of preparation is going to set you up really, really well.
Yeah, perfect. Beautiful. Well, thank you again for those who are watching, but mostly those who do listen. We really appreciate the support, the feedback. So if you like what you're listening to, then jump on, give us a 5-star review on the platform that you're on. If you've got any questions, topic ideas, etc., you can reach out to us through contact us on homebuildinghub.com.au. Other than that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Home Building Hub. As part of the podcast, we have to be a little careful to cover ourselves on a legal standpoint. So we do have a disclaimer. Whilst we're all about providing value to you, this podcast should not be considered legal or financial advice. It does contain general information only, and you should seek out independent professional advice on your own personal situation before you make any legal or financial decisions.
1